An Atlanta toddler who fell down an elevator shaft is truly lucky to be alive. But how in the world did something like this happen? Well, the Fox 5 I-Team's Dana Fowle has learned exclusively what caused this elevator to malfunction and how it may affect dozens of in-home elevators across the state. Dana, this is very concerning.
Yeah, it really is. These are in-home residential elevator systems, and you're seeing more and more of these today. Older parents, that's why one of the reasons anyway, the Brown family had one installed, not expecting it to put the youngest member of the household in danger. Their toddler fell into an open elevator shaft. And there's a sense of urgency here as state investigators tell us there are nearly 50 of these systems installed in Georgia and need to be re-inspected immediately.
Good pets.
On the morning of February 2nd, Alia Brown left the house, her toddler with her sitter. But her rush hour drive home would be filled with panic.
Atlanta 911, operator 8142.
And later, what she calls a miracle.
It was a pretty standard Thursday for me. I was on my way home.
She was on the phone with her sitter. Just a few feet away were 2-year-old Jace and his dad.
She let out the largest, loudest wail I've ever heard, and the phone went dead.
Alia called back, frantic, nothing. Minutes passed. Finally, her husband Julian picked up.
He says, "There's been a terrible accident. Get here now. It's really bad." He said, "Call 911.
So she did.
Please, my son fell down the elevator shaft. He's 2 years old.
Jace, with two adults just feet away, had opened a hallway door and fallen from the second story down to the basement in an open elevator shaft. So he just pulled.
That's it.
There wasn't even a turn.
There was not a latch.
There's not a handle turn?
No.
The door should have been locked. If the elevator car is not on that floor, the door is not supposed to open. According to this state incident report, the locking system failed.
They look down and see him lying on the top of the elevator car.
He had fallen almost 15 feet. Neighbors rushed in to help. Julian Brown ran to the main floor's elevator door, hoping to reach his son from there. He came to this elevator door thinking he was going to have to pull it off his hinges because it would be locked. It wasn't. It opened right up. Again, a locking door that he says was not working.
It just kind of flung open too, but then that let us know, okay, we're dealing with a locking system that has failed twice.
Meantime, baby Jace had now slid. He was over the edge of the car, head down. He was wedged between the 780-pound car and the wall. Neighbors had arrived to help Dad save the baby. He was able to take a neighbor, a woman, hold her by the ankles and let her drop in there to see if she could at least try to pull out baby Jace. She couldn't. The Browns had just moved into this home. The elevator system passed inspection January 31st. 2 days later, the safety system failed them.
Fire and rescue came, and they had to kind of heroically cut him out of the house.
Command radio, patient is extricated.
Jace was rushed to Children's Hospital of Atlanta. He was treated for head injuries, concussion, and lacerations. The state's final report says he sustained serious bodily injury. He is at home now recovering.
This story needed to be told because this could have happened to an adult or an older person or, at night. It could have happened to anybody.
The next day, state investigators wrote the unit had fastener failure. 10 wood screws, a ½ inch long, pushed into a 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard, failed to hold the locking mechanism securely. Those screws were later found in the elevator well. This unit, it's manufactured by Bella Elevator, installed by American Elevator of Atlanta. The Fox 5 I-Team has reached out to both companies, but no one has returned our calls or emails. But state investigators tell us that 48 elevators in Georgia may have the same wood screw locking system that the insurance commissioner's office called inadequate and unsafe. American Elevator of Atlanta has been ordered to notify every homeowner to place them out of service immediately until an approved modification is installed. The company has also been fined $5,000. Jace is the baby of a tight-knit four-boy family. Mom says she wants to see these giggles again, but right now, he startles easily, she says, and he won't leave her side. But she'll take it.
It's not lost on me that he's a miracle.
We asked state investigators if homeowners had been notified yet of these elevators that may have issues. We were told American Elevator of Atlanta had not given them any indication yet that this has been done. The state isn't sure if they've been re-inspected yet either. Additionally, we are told they have not yet paid their fine. The insurance commissioner's office says they are, quote, very disappointed with the lack of action and are evaluating their next steps.
And Dana, you were saying these elevators are becoming more common. My grandfather lives in a townhouse that has an elevator like that, and he's had some problems with it.
Well, we are seeing more and more, and I've been doing residential elevator stories for 10 years as they have been emerging. Many of us live now in a townhome footprint. Our houses are on a smaller piece of land and they go up higher. So they have a lot of these, an opportunity to install these, and some families are opting for them rather than taking their older relatives, grandma, and having them live in an outside facility, which can be sad and which can be expensive. So they have them at home and they use these elevators, and so we see more and more. And you have to trust that they work.
And that's a concern, that there's not even that open communication between the company and the customers.
Yes, so we're going to stay on that. And if you have one of these systems in your home, give me a ring.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dana.